I'm Geraldo Rivera, and you're about to witness a live television event.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 biggest live TV disasters.
Making sure that you all are entertained.
For this list, we'll be looking at the most infamous instances of live television or online streaming gone wrong. We won't be including deaths or tragedies. Instead, we'll be looking more at broadcasting snafus and comedic mishaps. Did you happen to catch these moments live? Let us hear about it in the comments below. Number 20, the Tales of Tomorrow fiasco. Back in the early 50s, ABC aired a live sci-fi anthology show called Tales of Tomorrow.
Tales of Tomorrow. Thrill tonight to the most famous tale of a science-created monster.
Each episode was broadcast as it happened, so naturally there were a few disasters. One such blunder came in the first season episode Frankenstein. Legendary actor Lon Chaney Jr. played the monster, only he wasn't very good. Chaney broke character and refused to destroy the props. Instead, he mimed the actions and gently placed the furniture on the ground. According to Chaney's biographer Don Smith, the actor had been drinking and falsely believed that he was conducting a rehearsal, hence the breaking of character and ginger treatment of the props. Chaney later admitted that he thought it was a dress rehearsal, but he denied that he was drunk.
What did I do wrong? What did I overlook? I'm completely responsible, Matthew.
Number 19, Al Capone's Vault. This was the television event of the 80s, and it all came to a big, hilarious nothing. Construction companies found secret rooms before beginning to renovate Chicago's Lexington Hotel, which once housed legendary gangster Al Capone.
A massive concrete vault has been discovered. Some think it belonged to none other than the notorious Al Capone. Well, tonight, for the first time, that vault is going to be open live.
Naturally, people believed that these rooms may house valuable objects once belonging to Capone's organization. Recently fired reporter Geraldo Rivera then hosted The Mystery of Al Capone's Vaults, which hoped to reveal the chamber's contents on live television. The event was heavily advertised and watched by 30 million people. The IRS was even on scene to scoop up Capone's giant pile of hidden money. Except there was no pile of money. In fact, there was nothing at all. The live special deflated like a balloon and immediately entered the annals of live TV disasters.
Chicago, that toddling town. All right, I'm going. I'll see you. Good night. I'm sorry. See you next time.
Number 18, Madonna's Brit Awards fall. Hey, accidents happen, even to the biggest entertainers on the planet.
But the thing is, when I pulled that time, it didn't come undone. It went into a knot. And yes, ooh. I think that should be a bigger ooh. Yeah.
Madonna showed up at the 2015 Brit Awards to perform her new song, Living for Love. This being Madonna, the performance was expertly choreographed and featured a fun wardrobe change. Only it didn't go so well. The plan was to have a black cape ripped from Madonna's back, revealing her sparkly black and red outfit underneath. Unfortunately, this cape was fastened too firmly around her neck, and when one of the dancers ripped it from her back, she came with it. Madonna fell off the stairs, hit her head on the stage, and ultimately suffered whiplash, but she continued the performance as if nothing happened. Now, that's a consummate pro.
There was a man standing over me with a flashlight till about 3 a.m., making sure that I was still corpus mentis.
And presumably...
And I'm not, clearly, because I couldn't remember the words to my song.
Number 17, Milli Vanilli ruined their own careers. German R&B group Milli Vanilli were extremely popular in the late 80s, winning the Grammy Award for Best New Artist and scoring 5 top 5 hits in the United States.
And this is true. Girl, you know it's true.
But everything started crashing down on July 21st, 1989. During a live performance on MTV, their hit song, Girl You Know It's True, began to skip, indicating that they had been lip-syncing.
Girl, you know it's, girl, you know it's, girl, you know it's.
I wanted to die.
Furthermore, a man named Charles Shaw came forward and declared that he'd sung on their debut album, not the credited Fab Morvan and Rob Pilatus. This accusation, plus the disastrous live TV performance, eventually culminated in the truth. Morvan and Pilatus were imposters.
The two performers involved, Rob Pilatus and Fab Morvan, released a statement claiming they were actually prevented from singing by their own producer.
They were fired by music producer Frank Farian, and Milli Vanilli quickly disappeared from the public consciousness.
We were famous, now we were infamous. Just like that.
Number 16. Ashley Simpson dances off stage. Poor Ashley Simpson. She's never gonna live this one down. Back in October of 2004, Simpson appeared as the musical guest on SNL in support of her debut autobiography.
Once again, Ashley Simpson.
She performed both Pieces of Me and the album's title song. Well, she performed Pieces of Me. When the music began for Autobiography, the pre-recorded vocals of Pieces of Me played over the speakers instead. Panicked and not knowing what else to do, Simpson awkwardly danced off the stage and left her musicians to fend for themselves. Both the lip-syncing and the singer's reaction received enormous backlash, and the incident was widely parodied.
Old man River, he must know something.
Number 15. The Max Headroom Incident. It was November 22nd, 1987, and thousands of Chicagoans were hunkering down to watch some TV. At 9:14 p.m., WGN-TV was airing the news when their signal was hijacked. Instead of sports clips, the TV now showed a person in a Max Headroom costume rocking back and forth. This lasted almost 20 seconds. A few hours later at 11:20, WTTW's airing of Doctor Who was interrupted by seemingly the same person. This was a far more complex hijacking. It lasted about a minute and a half and contained talking, singing, crude props, middle fingers, and even a bear behind. This was the 80s version of trolling, and the trolls got away with everything. Despite an investigation, no one was able to find the source of the hijacking.
Oh, I just made a giant masterpiece for all the greatest world newspaper nerds.
Number 14. BBC interviews the wrong guy. This could very well be the funniest blunder ever seen on national television. On May 8, 2006, tech expert Guy Cuney was scheduled to interview live on the BBC concerning a recent court case involving Apple. However, the staff mixed him up with Guy Goma, a business graduate who happened to be interviewing at the BBC on the same day.
Well, Guy Cuney is the editor of the technology website News Wireless. Hello, good morning to you.
Goma was ushered on stage, quickly wired up, and soon launched into a live interview with host Karen Bowerman.
When I came, they told me something else, and I'm coming. You got an interview, so it's a big surprise anyway.
A big surprise.
Exactly.
Yes, yeah.
Goma tried his best to answer the questions, but it was very obvious that something was off, especially considering the shocked reaction that Goma conveys at the beginning of the interview. And the worst part of it all, he wasn't even hired.
This does really seem to be the way the music industry is progressing now, that people want to go onto the website and download music.
Exactly. You can go everywhere.
Number 13. The Battle of Bramall Lane. This 2002 soccer game was between West Bromwich Albion and Sheffield United. United goalkeeper Simon Tracy was given a red card less than 10 minutes in, prompting manager Neil Warnock to make a substitution.
Misjudgment and a real chance for Doby, and that's a handball outside the area, of which there is no question, and I wonder if a red card is on its way. It is.
He later made 2 more for strategic purposes. Managers are only given 3 substitutions per game, so he was now unable to add new players. What followed was a pure comedy of errors. 2 players were kicked out for physically attacking their opponents, and 2 others were taken out with injuries. This left United with just 6 men, less than the 7 allotted by the rules. The referee was forced to end the match for this infraction, making this English football history's only game to end on a player shortage.
You got in the showers and then you realise people coming down the car park, the media attention. It's never happened before to be a game abandoned, so it's not ideal to have been involved in it.
Number 12. The Balloon Boy Hoax. Live TV is fascinating. You can follow a national news story in real time, and you can also watch it deflate in an instant. On October 15, 2009, the country watched enraptured as a gas balloon floated through the air with a 6-year-old boy supposedly trapped inside.
What you all see right there is an experimental aircraft that inside of which is a 6-year-old boy.
However, the boy was later found in the attic of his home, prompting allegations of a hoax. This was seemingly confirmed during a live interview with Wolf Blitzer when the boy said his family, quote, did this for the show.
We did this for the show.
Yeah.
No.
A law enforcement affidavit later concluded that the parents had planned the hoax in an attempt to drum up interest for future media interests. The Heen family continues to deny that it was a hoax.
It was never a hoax, not once, not ever.
Number 11, Steve Harvey's famous bungle. Steve Harvey may be a consummate professional, but he will always be remembered for a simple bungle. At the conclusion of Miss Universe in 2015, Steve Harvey declared Colombia's Ariadna Gutierrez the winner. However, he awkwardly bumbled his way back on stage and told the crowd that he'd messed up. Gutierrez was actually the first runner-up, and the Philippines' Pia Wurtzbach was the real winner.
The first runner-up is Colombia.
Harvey had gotten confused while reading the results, as first was located beside Gutierrez's name. The mistake made headline news, became an internet sensation, and continues to haunt Harvey to this day.
This is exactly what's on the card. I will take responsibility for this.
Just 14 months later, Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway took some of the heat off Harvey by announcing the wrong Best Picture winner at the 89th Academy Awards. Number 10, Mariah Carey's New Year's show. On December 31st, 2016, Mariah Carey joined Ashlee Simpson in the cringy I don't know what I'm doing, just get me the heck out of here Hall of Fame. The legend was set to perform Emotions and We Belong Together on Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve with Ryan Seacrest, when she experienced some unfortunate technical difficulties. During the first track, she reportedly couldn't hear the backing track, and instead of soldiering on, she just sort of ambled about the stage. Carey talked in a passive-aggressive manner to the audience, while her dancers continued as planned, and the odd whistle note emanated from the speakers. The second performance, meanwhile, could be described as an entertaining but hilarious mess.
I mean, and I know how good they are at their job, so my reaction was she was working with the best. I find it hard to believe that they made big mistakes that night.
Number 9, Flaming Arrows.
Can you promise you won't be mad at me if I kill you?
Sure. I won't promise that.
During a live quarterfinals performance on America's Got Talent, stuntman Ryan Stock swallowed a steel rod with a target attached to the end. This target poked out of his mouth and was supposed to be shot with a flaming arrow by his fiancée, Amberlynn Walker. This seems like a bad idea, not only from a safety standpoint, but a live TV standpoint as well. A stunt like this can go catastrophically wrong, and it nearly did. The flaming arrow ended up pegging Stock in the throat, causing him to grimace in pain and quickly pat away any potential flames. The judges and audience watched the stage in silent worry before host Nick Cannon assured everyone that Stock was okay. Number 8, Kanye West interrupts Taylor Swift. Kanye West thought that Beyoncé had
one of the best videos of all time.
Well, we think this is one of the most unforgettable live TV disasters of all time. It was the 2009 MTV Video Music Awards, and Taylor Swift had just won for You Belong With Me. By winning, she beat out Beyoncé's iconic Single Ladies video. As Swift accepted her award, West infamously stormed the stage, grabbed the mic from her hand, and claimed that Beyoncé should have won. He probably expected cheers but got boos instead, prompting him to turn and make an obscene gesture at the crowd. It was an incredibly shocking moment that even earned the attention of President Barack Obama, who called West a not-so-nice name.
He's a jackass.
Number 7, Anthea Turner's incident. Back in the late 80s, TV presenter Anthea Turner was hosting a live children's program called Up to You. Turner was on location reporting on a pageant conducted by the British Armed Forces.
And Anthea, well, she's got the roving eye down at the Royal Tournament in Earl's Court.
A motorcycle stunt was planned for Turner's story, but miscommunication resulted in a horrible accident. As Turner was sitting on the back of a truck, the pyrotechnics exploded in her face and set her on fire.
The person who was cueing the motorbike mistook my cue to speak as the cue to ask the motorbike to fly out of the back of the van, and of course I'm still sitting on the tailgate.
Families watching from home were understandably shocked and frightened, as they did not know the extent of Turner's injuries. She ended up suffering numerous burns and temporary hearing loss, and she successfully sued the BBC.
A few minutes ago, you might have just seen something a bit dangerous happen to Anthea. Just here to say she's okay, she's just gone to first aid, and she's going to have a nice hot cup of tea because she's got some shock.
Number 6, the Super Bowl wardrobe malfunction. An infamous piece of TV history occurred on the night of February 1st, 2004, also known as Super Bowl 38. As everyone knows, Justin Timberlake accidentally ripped off the outer layer of Janet Jackson's shirt while performing a dance move, briefly revealing more than intended. This instigated a national discussion, the likes of which has rarely been seen before or since. It was front-page news across the country, with some calling it an indecent act of American immorality.
If each CBS station ends up having to pay, fines could reach the millions.
Janet Jackson ended up blacklisted by many radio stations and television music channels. It also led to the creation of YouTube and added the term wardrobe malfunction to the Merriam-Webster's dictionary. Talk about an unforgettable halftime show.
Do you think people were too hard on you?
I think they were. I think they did put all the emphasis on me.
Number 5, Sinead O'Connor rips up a photo on SNL. Sinead O'Connor was once the biggest name in music. Her single, Nothing Compares to You, was especially successful, topping the Hot 100 for 4 weeks, and being named 1990's #1 world single by Billboard. But then her career essentially came to a halt on the night of October 3rd, 1992. She was performing Bob Marley's War on Saturday Night Live when she ripped up a picture of Pope John Paul II.
Fight the real enemy!
The move was meant to protest abuse within the Catholic Church, but it only got O'Connor into heaps and heaps of trouble. NBC received thousands of complaints, and other celebrities, including Joe Pesci and Madonna, viciously criticized her actions.
I mean, why should I let it bother me, right? It wasn't my show, it was Tim Robbins' show.
And that was pretty much it for Sinead O'Connor, at least as a chart-topping pop star. Number 4, Malice at the Palace. Injuries notwithstanding, the Battle of Bramall Lane was borderline comedic. Malice at the Palace was, well, malicious.
In my head, I'm like, you're done. There's no way you might not ever play again. So start thinking about something else.
This was a basketball game between the Detroit Pistons and the Indiana Pacers. With less than 46 seconds left in the game, Pacer Ron Artest fouled Piston Ben Wallace. Wallace's physical response to Artest's act resulted in a brawl. The fight was brief, but then someone in the crowd threw a drink at Artest, prompting him to storm into the stands. He attacked who he thought was the thrower, when in reality, this person was innocent. People attempted to pull Artest off the man. The situation escalated to include spectators, and before long, all hell had broken loose. The police intervened, and numerous people were charged with assault, including players and fans alike.
Hello, 911. I need to come to the palace and hurry up. Okay, we do have that out there.
Number 3, the World Series earthquake. The 1989 World Series is perhaps the most famous of the modern era. Not because of the games, but because of what happened before one. Shortly after the pre-game ceremony began for Game 3, the Loma Prieta earthquake struck San Francisco's Candlestick Park, interrupting the video feed and distracting sportscasters Tim McCarver and Al Michaels.
I'll tell you what, we're having an earthquake.
Viewers at home were met with loud static, a technical difficulties graphic, and the creepy sound of screaming fans. Luckily, no one within the stadium was injured, despite its extensive shaking. In fact, the game is credited with saving lives, as people usually on the roads were either at the game or watching from their homes.
It took a while for it to settle in before everybody really realized what had taken place.
Number 2, Richard Belzer and Hulk Hogan. Back in the mid-80s, actor Richard Belzer hosted a cable talk show called Hot Properties. To promote the first WrestleMania, Belzer hosted the event's marquee stars, Hulk Hogan and Mr. T. Belzer asked Hogan to demonstrate a wrestling move, so Hogan put him in a chinlock. However, Hogan took the bit a little too far and ended up knocking Belzer unconscious.
You just tell me, brother, when you want him to quit squealing, okay? All right.
He then dropped the limp Belzer to the ground. Belzer played it off after waking up, but it was obvious that he had been hurt.
All right, brother.
And now, we'll be right back after this word from you-know-who.
Belzer later sued Hogan for an undisclosed amount. He bought a farmhouse in France with the proceeds, which he named Shea Hogan.
I feel really bad about the situation. Richard asked me to demonstrate a professional wrestling hold, and that's exactly what I did.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. The Gary Stolman Incident. Back in August of 1988, a man named Gary Stolman strolled onto the set of KNBC and held TV presenter David Horowitz hostage. Stolman held a weapon to Horowitz's back and ordered him to read a rambling manifesto filled with conspiracy theory gibberish.
Pardon me? What is this?
Viewers at home only witnessed the initial attack, as the feed was intentionally cut shortly afterwards. Horowitz then obliged the gunman, who was not aware that he'd been taken off the air.
Stolman's statement was a bizarre tale of space creatures and the CIA.
The manifesto ended with the revelation that Stolman was actually holding an unloaded BB gun, and he placed it on the desk beside Horowitz. Stolman was promptly arrested and later pleaded guilty to the misdemeanor of false imprisonment, resulting in 3 years probation.
Burbank police wrestled a man to the floor. He has been identified as Gary Stolman, and he said he never intended to harm anyone.
Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.